Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you all for joining us today, and welcome to International Accelerator's 5th Investor Pitch Day, where 3 of our portfolio companies will be presenting their startups. For a very brief background on International Accelerator, we are a 12-month, highly bespoke on-site acceleration program based in Austin, Texas. International Accelerator works exclusively with foreign-born founders who want to launch and scale their business in the U.S. market. During the course of their 12 months with us, International Accelerator offers a variety of key services to our portfolio companies, including but not limited to immigration support, legal support, housing and office space, mentorship and consulting, and fundraising through safe investments. For today's agenda, we'll have 3 of our companies presenting. Each will be given about 15 minutes to present and then 5 minutes for Q&A with the audience. In order to submit questions for any individual presenter, please use the Q&A feature within Zoom, the chat box, or feel free to email me at jack@iaccelerator.com. And one last note before we introduce our first presenter, we will be sending out contact information and calendar links for each startup presenting today so that you can ask any follow-up questions and schedule time to meet with any of our founders if you're interested. Presenting first today, we have Charlie Sarmiento with Vertikal Sports. Vertikal Sports is creating the LinkedIn for athletes by leveraging their proprietary VTX score. So Charlie, you should have control of the screen now. Perfect.
Hi, how are you? Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Mo, and the rest of the team of IA. I'm Charlie Sarmiento, founder and CEO of Vertikal X. So I'm building the LinkedIn for athletes based on performance data. And this is based on my previous experiences as an athlete, very early stage, as well as in the business space, when I decided to combine my 2 passions, sports and business, for the last 23 years. And I'm building my 5th startup. This is my first one in US, and I already exit 4 of them. 2 of them partially. I still own 20%. So basically, I faced these different challenges in my athlete career when I got recruited by a D1 soccer team in Jacksonville University, and I couldn't make it because I didn't have the resources for the annual budget. And obviously, my parents they want me to get a full ride scholarship, and that's what is happening, that every parent here in US, they want their children to have a sports scholarship. But just for you to know, there's only 2% of sports scholarship available for more than 8.5 million student athletes in the United States, high school and college. And I was one of the 98% that couldn't make it because of that. So what we want to do is, now that NIL took place in the United States since 2021, we are going beyond NIL, because I always say that you can be a sex symbol in social media and a terrible athlete. And even though that the industry has been growing pretty quickly the last year, in 2022, it's 1.5 billion industry, but only less than 5% get those sponsorships. So that is why we are creating this ecosystem, where we also have the insights from big brands such as Gatorade, when they want and they need a meritocratic, holistic system to assign this sponsorship as well, based on an objective data, and in order to not only have an ROI in their brand awareness through social media, but more an authentic impact through the athletes. So right now we already have traction, 22 athletes that are on board of the platform. This is basically on Latin America athletes. And now we are pursuing a partnership here in Austin, Texas, and another partnership as well in the beverage industry. So what our solution is through the VTX score, where we basically rank these athletes, and we created this algorithm based on 4 different indexes: education, social impact, training, and athletic performances. We are including AI and machine learning in one of the indexes in order to capture the sentiment of the community that these athletes can reach through their social media. So basically how it works is the athlete will create its profile, and based on its profile there's different information that need to be filled up. We collect the data through different APIs, and we will rank these athletes in order to promote them, and over time we will see their tracking performance in these 4 different indexes, as well as the VTX score. From the other side, the sponsors will be able to select the athletes, compare them, and go further with the different indexes and data to have a deep analysis of them. We're a B2C2B platform where basically the athletes, it's free, and we'll have a premium for $5.99 per month. And then from the hunters perspective, that we'll call it hunters, which are basically scouters, recruiters, sports brands, and etc. They will pay also like a SaaS monthly fee of $25 per user. And then another revenue stream that we have incorporated is a transaction fee, which basically is in 3 different streams: the license assessments that we have developed the last 3 years to do the assessment and collect the data from a training performance perspective. And then brand sponsorship, we get a cutoff fee, 20%. The rest goes to the athletes. And then BI data analytics it's also a fee. So this is to have a potential impact of, as I mentioned you, 8.5 million student athletes, high school and college. Also, we are in our go-to-market, we are also targeting endurance athletes through an API with Strava, where they have 100 million users. And for the hunters perspective, it's 50,000 hunters. And we are pursuing a partnership with Octagon, one of the biggest firms in sports agency and marketing. So it's an $8 billion industry. And we already saw that in 1 year, NIL was $1.5 billion. So our go-to-market pretty quickly, we are in LATAM. We have a partnership with a training facility. One of the exits that I have is I'm a shareholder of that. And also we have very good relationship with the sports federations in Guatemala. So we are doing our go-to-market there. And then in US, we are doing partnerships with Lake Travis Youth Association and as well as Strava, as I mentioned you, to capture a good amount of athletes in this journey. For the hunters, it's kind of it's a different perspective, but it's basically the coaches that we also have a good relationship with Lake Travis Youth Association. I have been a coach there. I'm still being a coach there as well. I have been an Exos athlete and I have very good relationships. So with Exos, that's another strategy that we are pursuing, as well as the community managers through LinkedIn, Octagon, as I already mentioned, and recruiters, basically UT and St. Edwards. Then for the sponsors, is basically what we created another entity in order to provide to these big brands another incentive through a non-for-profit, so we can allocate the resources that are for these athletes, and also give back to these entities a tax credit. And with that, obviously, VertikalX, it's our company. It's C Corp based in Delaware, and where we are putting all these algorithms together. So our team, basically, I'm not a technical person, so we have Ronald there that it's been in the startup world as a technical lead. Right now, we also have another technical lead on the back end and data science, and he's more on the front end and product owner. Then Marianne, she has been a sports entrepreneur as an athlete as well, very involved in business and myself, I have been 14 years in the corporate executive space for big companies in the region, in Latin America region. And the last year, I have integrated an advisory team of well-known people in the space in the United States, from economic developer Angelus, who's also the founder of the Accelerator. Dan, has a master's degree in sports science. He was a professional soccer player. Barbara, she was my mentor at PepsiCo. Feng, who worked at Visa as a digital transformation. Amy, she has been in the sports innovation space at Adidas. And Fernando Boyton, who also is in the tech development. He's from Guatemala. Last year as well, we have been accelerated or been part of this ecosystem that we have been able to grow and learn the entrepreneurship space in the world and in US specifically. We are a portfolio company of IA, and it's like a family for me, and I'm very grateful and happy to be one of their companies and one of their family members. So this is what we are asking right now. We are fundraising 500K. It's to get basically to do the go-to-market, keep hitting the milestones in the MVP, and start building the team. Now the members of the team has been recruited by non-cash. Is basically an equity incentive plan that we put together. So everybody is very committed to the mission and the vision of the company, to leave a legacy for these future generations and propelling these athletes, these future legends. This is we have been bootstrapping since 2021. This is our milestones, big milestone that we have hit. We will still have a lot of milestones to accomplish, but we are very confident that we will go through there and start, solving this problem. Very focused. So this is VTX, propelling the future legends. Thank you very much for your time. Now some questions if you want.
Awesome, Charlie. Well, thank you so much. We do have some questions in here from the crowd. First of all, from the athlete's perspective, what age group should an athlete be starting to think about signing up for VertikalX?
So we are basically targeting 14 years old and above.
Awesome. So right when they're starting to think about college recruitment and everything, getting them right in that key time. And then on the B2B side, how exactly will the schools and the universities work with the platform? I saw they pay kind of a nominal monthly fee to have access to the platform for the recruiters. Could you maybe expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so basically for the recruiters and athletic departments, there is no system that allows them to track these 4 different indexes. So for them is basically what they want and they need, the pain that they need to solve is how they can track in one place their education, their social impact now that NIL has become in place, because they want athletes that impact positively in their communities as well, and also is their performance on field, and that is this system will allows them to keep an eye on them on a good way, and also to assign the few scholarships that they can assign directly, and also in our case to fill the gap of the funds that they can allocate for them for a scholarship perspective, is going to be more objective.
Awesome. And I love that it's not just the on-field stats and performance that feeds back into the score, but also their performance in the classroom, their social impact, any volunteer work they're doing, making sure it's giving them a well-rounded, holistic score. You mentioned a few alignments with some organizations, primarily in the soccer space. Is the goal kind of to focus on soccer as the initial target athlete? And then which other sports would this be relevant to?
Yes, so right now in our go-to market, we are in parallel in two sports, two verticals. One is soccer and the other one is endurance athlete. The big difference is that the scalability in the soccer is going to be slower than the endurance athletes, but it will bring us all the credibility in the market to keep growing in other sports such as basketball, baseball, volleyball, etc. So those are the two main focus that we have now, and that is why our partnerships with the sports academies are gonna become one of our key strategy points in the future years. And from endurance athlete perspective, it's gonna be this direct partnership with Strava that will allows us to go and target those individuals, athletes, in basically triathlon, running, cycling, and swimming. That's going to be the primary sports that we're going to be involved right now, like in the short term.
Fantastic. And you mentioned some future aspirations and goals. Is there any plan for this platform to be utilized by, say, a professional athlete? It seems like a lot of the focus is on, bridging that gap for partial scholarships and more focused on the high school and collegiate level. But do you see any application where a professional athlete might benefit from VertikalX, or maybe a sports organization like, say, the NFL, or a professional organization? Any plans for the future there?
Yes, definitely yes. So for a professional athlete, what we are doing is we are going to create with the data predictability model of the VTX score in a way that we can predict who's going to become a professional athlete of these early stage athletes, and then we'll have another program specifically for the top performers, and that is how we are going to get involved in the pro. So it's take them from amateur to pro. That's how we are going to get involved with the pro. And then from the other side, we will definitely will. That's what we are working on, our go-to market with the sports federations in Latin America, because it's going to be a tool to assign sports federations around the globe a meritocratic and objective way to assign the resources that typically the governments allocate in the sports federations. So it's not just, it is going to be a system and I will say a software for these entities to use it. So we will avoid with that the friend of the president of the federation that wants to be in the national team. So we will be that this platform will help a lot as well for that. And then, and the LinkedIn topic is because it's gonna be a whole ecosystem in there, right? It's gonna be all sports oriented ecosystem. So we are dreaming of having this platform that it's very sports oriented, that we can hire. If I'm an athlete and I get funded, I can hire a coach to train me with the resources that were allocated. Or if I want to hire as a community manager because I'm an athlete and I don't have the time or the knowledge to do a full-time community manager role, I can hire from there because I already have a sponsorship based on my VTX score. So that is going to happen. Nutrition, my supplements will be willing to also do the same. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamics, and obviously we are already, as you saw in our milestone, incorporating Web3 in the future, because it's going to be very and blockchain is going to be a lot of transactions involved, and it has to be very transparent, and that's what we want to create: transparency and scalability.
Fantastic. And maybe time for one more question. I understand the 501c and the role that, say, Nike could donate to a scholarship and then get the tax credit. But what about like a high net worth individual? If they wanted to invest in an athlete, a future legend, would they be able to get some portion of that athlete's future earnings or future endorsement revenue?
The question is eventually yes. We right now we are not launching that program yet. That's the VTX predictability model and the future earning. So definitely yes. We will have to evolve in the structure, I will say, and that is when blockchain came into play, because it's going to be something that definitely will go.
All right, Charlie. Well, thank you so much. We're right at time, but appreciate you and great job. Up next, we have
Thank you.
Eddie Hernandez and Dario Casanova from SolarX, who offer energy investments with low entry tickets, fast, easy, and affordable financing, and a positive impact on the environment, all through their easy-to-use app. Welcome, Eddie, and I will stop sharing here and give you control.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let me just wait for Dario.
All right, welcome, Dario. You guys should have control to share the screen and take it away.
Oh, awesome. Here we go. Okay. Can you guys see me? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Let me share my screen. Just 1 second. Okay, there we go. Can you guys see that? Yeah.
Yep, got it.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you everyone for the time and for coming. We're SolarX. We're an app to invest in solar energy. The Americas require a $483 billion investment each year in renewable energies in order to meet Paris Agreement objectives. The problem is there are no good renewable energy apps out there. So the world needs renewable energy, but renewable energy needs investors, and investors can't invest. As we know, there's a global energy crisis. There's increasing CO2 in the world, increasing energy demand, and there is not enough investment in this type of technologies in order to keep up. So naturally, renewable energy projects have a hard time finding money. It can be expensive, slow, and really complicated to get. As for investors, investing through apps have one or multiple negative remarks, like high risks, big investment tickets. They are really complicated to invest in. They have no monthly returns, and they don't have an actual positive impact on the environment. The solution is SolarX. We make it easy to invest in solar energy with a guaranteed ROI, or return on investment, of over 15%. So we're a crowd investing platform. And when you take into account fintech platforms like Robinhood, Acorns, and Public that make it easy to invest in energy or in investments, or crowdfunding like GoFundMe, Patreon, and Kickstarter, we are the best of both worlds right in the center, because we make it easy to invest while supporting a green cause, or supporting a cause in general, right? Our deal flow is pretty easy. We developing companies like Brother or Vive Solar bring projects to SolarX, and then after we check them and approve them, we offer them to the investors so they can try and invest in any of them. We offer energy as a service. So SolarX provides renewable energy to industrial companies, reducing their electric bills without investing a single cent. And these projects have a ROI over 15% and monthly returns for 10 years. Now is the best time to invest in energy, in solar energy, because as you can see in the table on the left, the yellow line represents the solar energy costs, and now it is the most efficient type of renewable energy out there. And on the table on the right, we can see the demand is projected to double by 2040, and the energy has been growing over the years, so it is the best time to have cheap energy. Our revenue model is really easy. We take a 5% funding fee, which is a one-time thing, and a 5% returns fee on all of the, which is recurring on all the returns for the project. So let me explain a little bit more. Investors go into our app and choose projects to invest in. Once the project has been funded, we give it to the fund seeker, that money to the fund seeker. When we take a 5% commission on that, which is a one-time funding fee. Once the fund seekers start generating revenue and giving it back to the investors, we take a 5% return fee on that as well, which is recurring. So our market size is $483 billion, as we stated before. But when we focus on energy generation needed, it scales down to $186 billion. And if we take only 1% of that, it's $1.86 billion, our obtainable market. In the digital investor market size, we can look at investment platforms like Robinhood, Acorns, and Public, and all of them have over 1 million users and over 1 billion transactions made, or dollars in transactions. And as for support platforms like GoFundMe, Patreon, and Kickstarter, they also have all over 1 million users and over $1 billion in transactions. We are the best of both worlds, so our main goal is to reach 1 million users and 1 billion in transactions, which is not a lot comparing to the amount of investment needed in renewable energy. Our roadmap focuses mainly on our first year with solar energy, but we plan to expand to carbon offsets, wind, waste, and micronuclear power by our 2025, software as a service, and community solar. And we also have other types of potential revenue streams in our scope, like crypto and hardware. To validate this business model, we raised $1.7 million to use in 4 solar energy projects, which are the ones you see on the right. All of these were in Mexico City. Now we want to expand to the whole of Mexico, USA, Colombia, and Brazil to find projects and invest in them. So the opportunity and our goal is to fund $1 billion worth of projects by our 5th year, which will amount to $50 million in funding fees for SolarX and $10.3 million in recurring returns. These are our financial projections, where on our first year, you can see our goal is to raise $4 million for funded projects, and on our 5th year, we will have a crowd investing goal of $60 million. Our team is Eddie Hernandez, who is here, and who is a full stack developer and funding engineer of YC startup. And I have 6 years experience in Latin's energy energy and financing sectors. Of course, Angelos Angelo is a general advisor, and he has been helping us with all of our expansion programs. We're currently raising $750,000 in seed capital to mainly use in marketing growth and product development. Other fees are a small legal fee and operations. Thank you. We're SolarX, and we'll make investing in solar energy be as easy as buying a cup of coffee.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dario. We do have a couple questions here. First off, who are some of your competitors in this space? Are there any other established companies doing anything similar to what you guys are working on?
Correct. Good question. There aren't any companies that do our model and our investment model basically same as us, but there are other platforms like the ones we showed before, which are also in a sense a competitor because they are investing platforms. So those are there, but there are no immediate competitors that also invest in renewable energies the same way that we do.
Also, there are a couple that are starting to do in some way or another like energy investment, although they are way too complicated, way too long to invest. Even I can sometimes because, I mean, regulatory purposes, you have to be an accredited investor, this and that, and only like American citizens, etc. So really our model is way different because we are the most scalable and the only ones that can accept money from everywhere, and we make it really easy to invest in.
Correct. One plus point that we have that none of the other companies that do something like this have is that our minimum investment ticket is $10, and from there you can go up to however much you want. But as I said before, most of the companies do something similar. They require you to be an accredited investor. In this case, as a crowdfunding platform, or we don't really need this type of securities because we already have them before you need to make you make an investment basically.
And last but not least, with their model that our competition, quote unquote, had, like they will never get to 1 million users because of how they operate. But our model is more similar to as a platform that we were comparing ourselves, which are platforms that have users from all over the world and millions of users, basically.
Awesome. And you mentioned some of the traditional energy investing vehicles. Minimum ticket size for investing in oil and gas wells would be like $50,000, have to be an accredited investor. You've also got the risk of a dry strike, where solar is much more predictable, which I love. But what is your minimum investment size for an individual investor? Say I wanted to join the platform and invest in a solar project. What's my barrier, or what's my entry threshold?
$10. That's the minimum, and from there you can go. I mean, one ticket is $10, and you can buy as many tickets as you want, basically.
In one transaction, our limit is right now 1 million due to a strike. limitations, but yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And are you willing to expand to Africa, and do you allow subsidiaries?
Well, yes. Honestly, we have been looking at projects in Africa already, looking for opportunities to invest. It all depends. Honestly, there are three main factors that we look at when we look for a project, which is the return, of course, the PPA, which is the power purchase agreement, which basically will it's a contract that helps us sell the energy that for the project that we invest in. So let's say we invest in a project and that project is generating energy. That energy has to be sold for us to get a return, and the PPA is what allows us to do that, power purchase agreement, and the warranties that the developer gives us basically. So this is how we make sure that whoever we are investing in has warranties that protect the investment. The PPA also protects the investment and the return on the investment too, so to make it attractive. So as long as the developer gives us a good warranty and the PPA is with a good company or a good energy purchaser, the opportunities are limitless basically.
Awesome. And you kind of spoke there to kind of the validation of looking at a new project, right? The return, the warranties, the PPA terms. But can you talk a little bit about what your sourcing efforts are like when you're looking for new projects to fund through the platform? How do the projects come to you guys?
Correct. So right now we are partners with two developers. They operate mainly in Mexico, Colombia, and the USA. And they bring us their projects that they bring the offerings to us. So far, it has been a lot of projects, maybe a little bit more than we can handle, but not all of them apply. So it's been a labor of love trying to see all of this, sift through all of this, and choose the best ones to work on them a little bit more. Our goal is to have also at one point our own projects that we can basically offer to developers and have them, compete to see who is the best one. But so far, we are partnering with developers. They bring the projects to us.
Fantastic. And have you ever had a project go over budget? And if one did, what sort of course of action would you take? Would you be able to do an additional funding round if that went over budget, or would that be on the developer to eat that cost? And have you guys ever experienced that with any of the projects in Mexico City?
That has never happened, but if it does happen, it goes on the developer. Yeah, this is why the warranties are set. They basically warranties and insurances to make sure if there's an accident or something bad happens, it's not on us, it's on the developer. They have to fix all of that. And if they go over budget, it's on them. They only have the basically they need to get to the point of operation, and that's the main thing. If they go over budget or something happens, it's all on them basically. And if something really bad happens, well, we get our money back.
Yeah, so of course you'd have supply bonds and performance bonds, and then if something goes terribly wrong, the developer would go into liquidated damages, right?
Basically.
Awesome. Now, you were recently in both Japan and France. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys were doing over there?
Yeah, well,
tell us the story.
It was really, really interesting. We went to France to meet with it was a sort of a summit in between the French government, South Korean government, and Colombian government. They all want to work together to basically promote renewable energies, mainly in Colombia because they are in a state of crisis, because 80% of their energy, it comes from hydroelectric power plants, and they have been having a lot of droughts. So all of that 80% of the energy that they bring from hydro has gone down 70% because there's not enough water. So they are currently in a crisis to start building more renewable, solar energy in specific, solar energy projects. And they invited us to participate in that summit to see what we can help with in terms of that. And then we moved to Spain because we're currently looking at some projects over there, big projects in Spain, and investors that want to participate with us in projects in both Mexico, Colombia, and Spain.
And about Japan, we went with this company
Oh,
that
yeah,
we won a fish competition. It's called Daikin. It's the one, if not the biggest HVAC company in the world. And so basically, we won this prize, and then we went there to talk with both the people at Daikin Japan and also with their CVC, Corporate Venture Capital. And we're looking forward for getting an investment from them. And not only that, to also start doing projects with them in Mexico and in Colombia, specifically hotels where they put the HVAC and they want to also offer like sort of like in a package, like here's SolarX energy like for free. So
yeah, they want to
we are looking.
integrate SolarX into their offerings for their own projects.
Yeah, and it's a $60 billion company, so it will be a perfect partner to have.
Fantastic. And the hotel idea is interesting with, I'm sure that would help with LEED certification and potentially some tax credits. But can you talk about, are there any tax incentives to the individual investors for funding these solar projects?
That basically depends on where the investor is from. In the case of Mexico, they basically, I'm not sure about the US, I would need to check into that, but I know that in Mexico, if you invest in this type of projects, basically you can, I don't know the word in English, but but you can, basically whatever you spend on that, it goes towards canceling your IVA. I don't know how to say that. Your income tax, I guess. I'm not sure. Yeah, it goes towards cancel. Like basically, it goes against your income tax.
Yeah, you get a tax deduction on it.
Yeah, tax deduction, exactly. Yeah.
Very similar to the U.S., at least I know in the energy space, any sort of investment you provide is a good kind of tax haven investment, they call it.
Yeah.
Maybe
so is that
and sorry.
And also, like in the future, we're gonna look forward to also make it easy to have integrations with different platforms, like accountant-wise, so they can easily do their taxes from even like the US or Mexico in a simple way, integrated with SolarX.
Yeah, an integration there would be great. I know a lot of the brokerage platforms, Fidelity, et cetera, they just provide you with a PDF at the end of the year, and there is no integration with Intuit or QuickBooks. So an integration would be fantastic. I think we have time for one last question. Can you talk a little bit about the market expansion strategy? Obviously, Colombia, Brazil, you mentioned the hydroelectric problem with power generation in Colombia, but what factors make for a good market for SolarX to enter?
Basically, there are two main factors, which is well, first of all, the energy prices. The higher the energy price, the better the return for the project, and then the type of clients and the value of the clients. I would say their qualifications, or if they're a AAA or they're just 1A or AA or whatever. That works because we can find the best project ever, let's say, I don't know, somewhere in South America, but if the client is not a good one, it won't really matter, because what happens if we invest and they don't pay, and then we have a bigger problem, right? So our goal is to make the investment as safe as possible for the investors, as for us, So mainly our main sectors are, as long as the project has a return of over 15%. Most of our projects in Mexico have an average around that 23-24% return, and Colombia as well. And it has to be whoever is purchasing the energy has to be basically an accredited client. They cannot be just anyone. They have to be industrial level or commercial level, and they need to have good financials for us to invest.
Fantastic. Sounds like you have kind of thought of everything from a control standpoint, making sure you guys are covered and your investors, more importantly, are protected. Well, Dario, Eddie, thank you guys so much. That brings us right to 2:40, but thank you so much for participating today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Presenting next, we have Almat from Tournaman, which is a global platform for competitions that allows anybody to create, find, participate in, judge, and stream live tournaments. Welcome, Almat, and I will stop my screen share and turn over the controls to you.
Thank you, Jack. Hello, everybody. I'm Almat. I can share my screen, right, Jack?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can. So, yeah, thanks for the introduction. Thank you, Mohammed, Jack, Vivian, for hosting this event. Tournaman is a platform for competitions, for contests, for tournaments, for challenges. So it's a platform where anybody can find any competition, any challenges. And same goes to, since it's a platform, it has another side where people create these contests. So we have contest creators and contest participants. So what kind of contests we're talking about? So we're talking about anything that it can be sports, it can be educational competitions, it can be hot dog eating challenge, and so on. So as I said, we see Tournaman as the largest contest platform, and I already told you that this nobody's doing this, nobody's like tackling a market of competitions to be a huge hub where you can find all these competitions and platforms, right? Mainly we have the user types. We have participants, contest creators, sponsors, and other. In the future, there will be like coaches, judges, fans, and so on and so forth. And I also wanted to point out really fast, our business model would be commission-based. So there will be paid competitions, and we will be getting commissions from each registration fee. We're targeting, as I said, like influencers, and we're already working with several major organizations like UNESCO. They decided to put their competitions on our platform as well, and likewise other organizations. But mainly, we're really going after influencers. So at this point, really, we're looking for $200,000. We were about to, close our pre-seed rounds, and we already raised around $140,000. So this money was actually spent on creating the platform. So we have the MVP now; it's working. We've run not a lot of, but some contests, and we already have traction. Some organizations, I told you, like UNESCO, are using the platform right now, but we're really targeting the. So I have a main team from Kazakhstan. These are my developers that are based in Kazakhstan. So pretty much this is it about Tournaman. So thank you for your attention, and yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Well, fantastic. And I love kind of the walkthrough and the thinking there about, people love competition. Obviously, sports is a huge industry. It's kind of ingrained in us from a very young age. But can you talk a little bit about your personal inspiration and where the idea for Tournaman came from?
Sure. Yeah, basically it all started when I used to teach. When I used to teach at high school, I used to take my students to all sorts of competitions, and I used to organize competitions myself, because I really believed as an educator, as a teacher, that it's one of the very engaging and exciting ways to engage our students into something, into learning process. Or improving their skill. So I used to take them to all sorts of competitions all around the world. But then I realized how I used to just, Google, search on Google, like finding, okay, I want to take my students to robotics competition. Okay, where are robotics competitions? I would just type robotics. But I always wondered where, is there any like a hub, a platform where I can go to and just, press a filter and find all the contests that I need and all the challenges that I need for me to participate. So yeah, that's where the inspiration came from, actually. So, and I would say from a necessity.
Fantastic. So you noticed that gap in the market, and then Tournaman was born.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on that note about, you're Googling, for instance, say a robotics competition or a spelling bee, could you talk a little bit about, maybe a two-pronged question here. One, some other examples of types of competitions that users could host. And then second part of that question, or I guess I'll let you speak to that and then I'll follow up with the second part of the question.
Yeah, so right now, again, we are targeting a very specific niche of contest creators based on what kind of contest we are able to host. So we're identified around 9 to 10 types of contests. So we started with digital art competitions. So we're targeting digital artist influencers. So specifically YouTubers who do how to, like tutorial videos on how to draw. And it's a perfect sort of example, a target where these influencers can, host these competitions because they know that their audience is always waiting for them to teach something. And what's the best way to engage your audience with, with the challenge, with the contest? And they're already doing it. They're already doing it on like Instagram, TikTok, but we're providing them a very systematic way to, manage their contest. That's one. The second would be a music production. So we know like there's like a lot of music producers, DJs, the beat makers, and it's the reason also we chose this type of like competitions. It's easy to manage, easy to host, and it's all online, and it's usually can gather viewerships. So that's one of the reasons that we like. So we thought that it's going to be very viral if the contest would just go. It would be easier to watch this contest. You know what I mean?
Awesome. And I can see from the demo slide here, I imagine you would click into one of these tournaments, and to use the drawing example, the individual contestants would all like embed a YouTube video of them doing the drawing challenge, and then the host can just go in there and score it.
Exactly. Yeah. So pretty much it just shows everything about the contest, that is, right? Like requirements about the contest, who's organizing it, timeline, the prize information. It's all like structured very well. It's like user friendly for people to understand. Like they can see who's participating. You can click on the profile of the person, and you can see the organizer, how many contests he has organized previously and upcoming contest. There's a join button. Payment systems is integrated. So it's a pretty complex platform, but more importantly, we also added a shareability feature, which is very important. As I told you, that people like to show off with their achievements, so they will be able to, whenever the contest is finished, they will be able to show off that they have won this contest and share it on Instagram, on TikTok, or whatnot.
Awesome. I love that connectivity between the different platforms. You mentioned earlier on being about 2 months out from traction and revenues. Can you walk through what some of your early marketing strategies were to get people to the platform, and what the monetization strategy looks like there?
Okay, so we've already started, as I said, reaching out to these influencers, and we already, and it just, and we were not spending anything pretty much. It's just like getting these influencers emails and just reaching out to them through email marketing. And usually, as I said, like 1 out of 10 cold reach outs, they're interested to hear about Tournaman. So from there, we're basically pitching to them that this is one of the engaging ways to connect with your audience, and they like the idea, right? And they like the idea how they can actually make money out of it. So we're always like right away we're telling that we're gonna help you monetize this your audience. And they go like, how? And we tell them that the competitions is one of the ways, and it makes sense for them, because they have sponsored, they have like other brands interested in their in their name and their influence, and they're gonna say like we can use this, and we can generate some revenue out of that. So that's how we're planning to basically generate revenue, like basically by working with influencers, telling them that they can make money, and they can leverage their audience by creating this contest. We can also make money from commission, basically. And so it just we also partnered with one of the companies called Influcracy, which is one of the startups. It's a platform for influencers. So we're partnering with them. They're pretty much they're giving us like, you know, all the, you know, contact list of these influencers, and we're just, you know, sending emails to them. And it's pretty simple, but it's very solid. It makes sense for these influencers. Yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. And maybe time for one last question, but say I'm, you know, the department head of the English and language arts department, and I have some historic data about like spelling bees that we've done in the past, maybe in like a Google Sheets file or on pen and paper scores. When I create my profile, would I be able to upload past contest results as well to kind of build the history out?
At this point, no, we don't have that functionality, but I definitely entertained that idea before, like probably in the future, like most probably in the future, people would be will be able to, you know, add these kind of once they prove that this actually happened with us, you know, like, so we would have to, like, you know, really confirm that these competitions actually happen, because we also see Tournaman as a platform where we verify this contest, you know, so it's basically people would in the future would trust that, oh, this contest, this challenge actually happened, because Tournaman is like the verification platform, right? And also with the verification comes with, you know, also different, you know, monetization models as well. Definitely, that's one of the ways where we're looking at that direction, because at the end of the day, there are challenges that competitions happen for fun, but there are serious competitions that are organized by organizations, you know, big companies, and we should be able to, like, really show people that with a blue tick, maybe, right? It's verified contest. Yeah, that's how we see it.
Well, fantastic, Almat. We're right at 3 o'clock, so thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And to everyone in the crowd, thank you for participating in today's investor pitch. Just as a brief reminder here, we will be sharing contact information as well as Calendly links for each of the 3 presenters today. So if you want to reach out to them, set up a conversation, set up a meeting, you'll be able to do that. But thank you again for joining today, and we'll wish everybody a good afternoon.
Thank you.